Hi guys, we are back with our Cygnar Warjack. If you can see it under the close cam, we're going to do his armor plates today. Now, usually Cygnar is blue, of course. The famed Cygnar Blue is this is obtained by, you know, those two P3 colors, Cygnar Blue base and Cygnar Blue highlight. That's pretty easy, pretty simple. We could do that, but we won't. I fear that the Cygnar Blue, although very pretty, is a bit too cold to my taste. So we will start with Prussian Blue, I think, for that base. It is a blue that is a little more green, a little more grey, so to speak, and a little more matte as well. And then I think we'll add some magic blue, which is a bit closer to the Cygnar Blue highlight, but a little lighter. And later on, perhaps we'll have touches of horizon blue. You know, for that trenches touch. After all, Cygnar does have trenches. So we'll see about that. And right, this is my wet palette. Pay no attention to the brown color of the paper. It's just baking paper, same as in my other tutorials, the white ones, except it's brown. Works just as well. Of course, white lets you see all the colors a little better, but never mind that. See, this is still close to the official Cygnar Blue, but perhaps a little more subdued. And while we're at it, I'll probably teach you how to do some battle damage, but we'll see about that later. So, yes, that's the gradient we're going to use for now. We'll start using this Prussian Blue color, pure, for the base of our Cygnar armor plating rather, because it's all painted up. Let's see. Start there, it's as good a place as any. I'm using a number 1 brush, and I'm working for now in washes that color the miniature just a little bit. You can still see the grainy undercoat, the grainy priming underneath, and that is what we want. As you can see, there's a lot of surface on a Cygnar Warjack, but it takes to the paint quite well, especially with that priming. You see, it all goes very well. Now, there, underneath, it's a bit of a tricky part, but it's all right. Yes, I think that deserves another coat. With, as you can see here, There's a little bit of metal on where the armor is supposed to be. We're going to correct it with several coats of blue. It is not that important. It's all very doable. Yes. It's quite a lovely blue, isn't it? Coat after coat, we're getting rid of the graininess. However, we can still see the light underneath it all. That's supposed to be blue as well. Some kind of a Warjack groin, I guess. His little buttock, I guess. Warjack buttocks are apparently, for Cygnar, sort of hexagon shaped. Interesting, isn't it? Right. Where does he have... Ah, yes, we'll do the legs. We'll do it all blue. I suppose you could use a little bit of a khaki or cream color. Cygnar and Warjacks also have those colors sometimes. It's a perfectly acceptable official color scheme, mind you. But yeah, blue is fine. Most of you don't have any problem painting blue, but it can be a pain if it's a bit dark. Yes, that'll do. There's a lot of surface to cover. We'll redetail some of the metal later on. I didn't want to get into the itty-bitty small details. Would be completely useless at the point where I did the other tutorial about metals with this Warjack. The Prussian Blue and the Cygnar Blue are very similar, especially on camera, but I guarantee, I tell you, it is different. It is very different. Well, not very different, but it is different. And the arms, now the fists, they have a little bit of armor here. I will paint that blue. Didn't want to paint it metal. Somehow I thought it would be a waste. even though I probably could have. There. This little bit here. And this one. Quite pretty. Let's not forget to paint behind that armor, behind those armor plates. Otherwise it just doesn't work, does it? And there we are, that arm. Yes, that is pretty much done. But he has another one. Yes. A left arm. Which leads me to say that somehow Warjacks are left-handed. Or at least this kind of Cygnar Warjack is. Interesting. Why would anyone make a left-handed Warjack? Why would anyone make a Warjack that is not ambidextrous? Maybe this guy is ambidextrous. I don't know. This is the kind of rambling I get to. This is the kind of stuff I wonder when I'm painting a miniature. I don't know if anyone else is the same. It's just that my mind tends to wander sometimes when I'm doing this sort of task. I'm perfectly focused on what I have to do, but my hand pretty much does it automatically now. Tell you what, if you also had that syndrome, that your mind wanders and you ask yourself terrible, insoluble questions when you're painting, stick it in the comments. Tell me all about your ramblings. I'd like to know. Unless, of course, this bit's completely edited out, as it probably will be, in which case I will never know. And my life will be incomplete forever. Or something like that. Yes, that's all right. Done for the base coat. Pretty much. I think this deserves a little more blue. Just here. There. That's it. Right. Now to the highlighting part. Here we have our base color. I'd like to do a gradient with this color. And also I would like to add some of this. See? This is Horizon Blue. So this is a slight highlighting. I'm going to wash a bit over here. This is I'm working actually with a paint that is not as dilute as one could be. So I'm just painting over the edges, and I'm not touching, you see, the inside of all those little creases between the plates. It's some sort of a wet brushing, not a dry brushing. This also gets rid of the graininess inherent to the base coat we've had. The paint should be should have the consistency of milk. I'm only going where the light is shining, of course. Pretty much. Sing along if you know it. See? Just highlighting the top, really. For now, I'm not too concerned with details. This is just a bit of the highlighting, really. This isn't the whole thing. You'll see. Oh, I think it needs a little more paint here. Yes. So, there. This needs highlights. This needs highlighting, but a little less highlighting than what I used previously on the rest, because, you know, it should be detailed, but it is still pretty much in shadows. I think this part does need highlighting, however. There. There. See? Lovely. That's a bit like Klein Blue, or Klein Blue. I don't know if you've heard of it. Now I'm putting in a little bit more azure blue in my mix, so as to obtain a lighter color, like so here. Still a good deal of magic blue in it though. So this is a wash, sort of a glaze rather. Yes. There, you see? Not too concerned about the details and the little rivets and that sort of thing. This pretty much takes care of itself. However, I am mindful of the light. Where the light goes, where it comes from. And I'm doing this because I can do it, because this is an old brush, so I'm not too concerned about ruining it, and also so it is, as it doesn't leave too many. Sorry, I can't speak English. Oh dear. I do this because it doesn't leave as many brush strokes. Less paint on the brush. So that I can highlight a little bit more, just on the edges. Now this needs highlighting. Very light brushing here. It's sort of like a dry brush, but it's not a dry brush, really. See? This is what I'm doing. I'm showing you what I'm doing a little more slowly. I do it quickly because, you know, I'm used to it, but this is just passing over what I want to highlight that way. It's all about blending, really. Yes, I think that should be highlighted a little bit better. Yes. There. Now onto this arm. Just a few washes of that clear mix with the azure blue. There. See? That pops up quite nicely, doesn't it? Oh, I'll put a little bit here, even though it's supposed to be in shadows. I mean, just to accentuate the detail, so that you can see better all those little rivets. Yes, perfectly all right. Oh, I think I'll highlight this a little more. There. See? This is still in shadows pretty much, and this is lit. It all comes down to where the light is, where the light comes from. As I told you before, you control the light. You decide where the light goes first, and then you pretty much choose, yes, you pretty much choose where the light comes from, and then you apply the paint according to that scheme. That is like a color scheme, if you will. That is a bit like a once you've decided, you only have to apply that property to all of the miniature. It has nothing to it really, as you can see. Oh, I wanted to highlight that a bit, just a bit, because it's a bit in shadows, but it's such a nice little detail that can't really fault anyone for wanting to see it. There, yes, better. Yes, I think this deserves a little highlighting as well. Only a little. Same thing here. Pretty much only to detail things out, not exactly as a ways to let you see, as a ways to accentuate light or whatever. I think this needs highlighting on the edge there, little rivets, so that just so that you can pick them up really, not to any other purpose, or not to any other porpoise, or not to any other dolphin, or not to any other manatee. These are horrible, horrible puns. I apologize. This needs highlighting a little bit more. Yes, I should think that needs as well. Yeah, and there. Well, that's it really, perhaps. I'll add a little dark blue to the mix and do this here, just so that one can pick out the details, but you know, technically it should not be that highlighted at all. There. See, underneath, that's all very contrasted. Yeah, yes. It's quite enough, I should think. So, we've got our plates pretty much done here, as you can see. Now it's just a matter of detailing. And to detail, we should grab our number 0 brush. That's here. Yes, it's a synthetic one. It's perfectly all right. Doesn't really do anything. Yes, I think there are some details that need to be corrected in gold. This is glorious gold. You can use any sort of gold you want, but we've used glorious gold for the golden metals on this miniature, so you know, I think I've made a little mistake here somewhere. There. Or is it there? There it is. Here. washed out. Now, the gold is interesting because it goes very well with the blue. All metals do, but I like gold. I'm picking these details out, you know, because it's interesting. It was a bit too small to shade massively in mass with the rest, along with the rest of the metals on the miniature. That's why we didn't do that in the other tutorial. Also, I didn't quite know what color it would be. Always hesitated between bronze and gold. Well, oh, I'm putting a little blue in here, around here, because it's been, I mean, I've made a slight error there, and I think these need to be colored gold as well here. Just these little wiry handles there. Not these two. These are perfectly fine in blue, perfectly fine colored in that Cygnar blue there. Good solid handles. Just picking the details out with perhaps a little more magic blue than I ought to, but never mind that. Yeah, it's all right. Now, we need a little more contrast in some places. We'll do it with a little bit of black wash, but mixed in with some greatcoat grey. Greatcoat grey is a nice grey color that I like to use because it has a hint of blue. I will show you my palette. This is black and greatcoat grey right next to it. This is greatcoat grey. This has a hint of blue-green in it, which is perfect for our Cygnar Warjack. Let me show you what a true neutral grey looks like. We're not going to use it, but let me show you on the palette so that you can see what I mean when I mean that it has a hint of blue and green. There, this is a neutral cold grey, and this is iron hull grey. It is also pretty neutral warm. See, this one is clearly a little more green, a little more blue. There. So I'm wasting a bit of paint, but this is just to show you. We're going to use this one and the black, and we're going to mix the two because we need something a little darker. There. There are two categories of painters. It's okay if you belong to any of them, but there's the category that thinks that a hint of this, a hint of that, a hint of blue, a hint of grey is important in a tone, in shadows, in highlights, and that sort of thing. And there's the type that thinks it's not important and that only does solid colors with black washes. You know, to each his own. We're only doing thin washes, and we're going to wash around these details. Just to pick them out, you see. Oh dear. There. Normally I would have prepped the Mini a little bit better, but this is just one Mini we had lying around at the studio after an unboxing, and it serves its purpose well, and I really love the pose, so you know, always glad to do it in tutorial. I think for a little bit of contrast we're going to have to wash that a bit. See, so that the armor plates aren't just blue. You're starting to see a little grey in the shadows, perhaps a little dust, perhaps the tones a little bit more subdued, a little truer, so to speak. Here, a little bit of grey in the back, on the sides. It enriches the tones, it desaturates them a little, so that somehow it gets a little bit deeper. And we all know that deeper is better. Already a difference is showing after merely one small wash. I think there in the creases, just so as you can see it better. Just in the creases, nothing fancy. See? Better. Much better. I think we'll do it over a bit here underneath. Also here on that little screw, because that needs detailing. Yeah, underneath the fist. I think this needs it. This plate needs a wash as well. Whole foot here pretty much needs it. Yes. It is very, very down there, very dirty on the ground. There behind in the creases. Yeah, see? It's a lot better. This foot needs it as well. in the shadows behind everything. Even on the gold it doesn't matter. It will just get grayer, dirtier, so to speak. And that's all right. I'll do a little more grey around here. There. See how that goes? Goes great, doesn't it? This is an indubitably a Cygnar color scheme, Cygnar Blue. However, it is, as you can see, a little bit more subdued, perhaps a little less tacky than the studio paint job. I like it better. I think it really shows how Cygnar Warjacks can have this wear and tear, how the paint does grow old, and it's not always a vivid blue, you see? Anyway, there you have it. Blue Cygnar armor plating and the Warjack juts. Still missing a few details, but pretty much done.